So we're just going to talk about yoga and how we adapt it to you and your personal DNA and makeup. So basically, the usual sort of cliche things are said, you know, don't force anything in the postures, stuff like that, which is fine. But we're just going to have a chat about, well, basically what yoga is, union of your mind and body. I tend to think of it as more union of you and your nervous system. And you'll just go for a few examples. So basically the classic is the splits. Everyone wants to do the splits. Again, just letting go of the ego. You hear the usual cliche things, let go of the ego, blah, blah, blah. Say you've been in a posture for, say, like 2-3 years, and you're nearly sort of there. You Vista Konasana, or you know, the full splits that way or something, and you think, you know, I've been in this same position. I haven't moved forward in it. I haven't progressed for the last year or so, or something like that. And then you try and sort of force stuff. What I'm saying is that might be the limit of that posture. We always think generally, not always, but a lot of the time, we think that it could be lack of flexibility. We need more flexibility in that posture and to do it more, but not always. Sometimes you could reach the limit. I'm picking on the Vista Konasana or the splits. You could have gone as far as you can, adducting the hip that way, and you've gone as far as you go, and you're pretty much bone on bone. You can't take your leg out any further. So we go further and we force. We can press on the bone. A little bit will be fine, but we go further. And again, this is bone on bone. Everyone's bone structure is different. Everyone's body is different. Everything in your body is different. You're unique. And we will try and sort of force that, or not force it, you know, just think, well, that should be going further, you know, in our minds. And this can create problems. So it's bone on bone. That's where we don't want to go. Some people's, say, sockets in certain joints would be less shallower than other people's. Even the hooks that hook on the bones within the sockets might be a millimetre this way or that way. The curvature is slightly different. So no one person is going to do that same posture exactly the same as someone else. So we could have reached the limits within that posture. You've gone as far as you can go, and that's fine. Again, I think back when I was 19, I was nearly there with the sort of split stuff like that. But there's no beneficial or functional benefits to go further for me, because it would go on knees, stuff like that. So I know the shape of my hips, and as you do yoga, you become more attuned to your nervous system. I mean, I say trial and error. You don't really want error, but you know, within your nervous system, it would tell you, you know, that's not comfortable. And that's the idea. You want to be attuned to that. You hear the usual things like breathing into the posture, edging. Definitely move around within the posture. Don't be static. I mean, obviously, there's some yogas that's a little bit more static than others, like Iyengar. Not picking on that, but that's obviously got its principles with it. But again, I mean, we go to specific poses, i.e., say someone's downward dog won't be exactly the same as someone else's. It will never be anywhere near. Everyone's is different. Like I say, because of the bone structure of every human being is slightly different. I.e., someone might not be able to come back this way. You know, they might come to here, and that's as far as they can go in the downward dog. So there'll be lots of modifications. We'd add different places, but why force that person to go beyond? Because that's where he should or could be. Should have, would have, could have be. You know, there's nothing to gain from that. Someone might be back here in it, you know, and that's fine. That's where they are. But why should this person who's here, comfortable in the posture, you know, go back there? Again, same with joints. We're constantly sort of decreasing angles and increasing angles in the body, or shortening and lengthening. But again, say we've got the elbow joint. You know, some people would be slightly bent. Some people would be beyond 80 degrees down here. So again, some people might be flexible down there. You know, why would we force that person? It would be ideally not a good thing to force that person back further, bone on bone. I mean, they might be back there comfortable, and again, they're fine with it. So you'd have to soften the joints. But a lot of the time you wouldn't want to be going there. But again, everything's two subjects. You know, the person is an individual within the yoga, and there'd be a load of people doing a pose within a room. None of them would be feeling the same within side with that posture, because the cellular structure of the body is different, etc. Same with knees. I mean, knees are another one, the old sort of classic martial arts one. You put the leg up and stretch, and then they're like trying to straighten out the knee. But why? You know, there's no need to do that. There's no beneficial functional gain from that to go beyond. I'm a classic of that. My knees don't go. They go to like sort of here, and then they won't go beyond, you know, here or something. There's a slight bend, and they won't go beyond. There's no use forcing that down. And you'd have people going, oh, you're cheating, you know, because your leg's not straight. But that is as far as someone can go. So that they've reached an actual limit within that posture. So why force that any further? So it's just been attuned to your nervous system, really. It's union of your mind and body in Sanskrit, but it's more, I would think, union of you and your nervous system, because your nervous system knows how to collect and generate, store and let go energy. And as you do that through the years, you become better and better at that. There'd be some poses you just want to throw out. Don't need them. I've got a few. I know they crop me up. I can get there. My Chakrasana, you know, I can get there. I've had good teachers get me there. And again, you can't blame the teachers. It's you. You know, your nervous system knows. You get there, and it did me no good. I won't go into detail, but again, there's no need. So I'll go for the lesser version of that. There's some with the Pilates, I won't go. I'll stick on lower levels. That's fine for me. So you will find what works for you, and that's what you're trying to do in that. You're trying to sort of tune into that with your own knowledge of your nervous system, and we will be constantly shortening and lengthening in everyday life, i.e. the muscles are, believe it or not, micro-tearing and refunding in everyday life just by living. Athletes would be more, there'd be more micro-tears and refunding going on. So that tells you the body's lengthening, even if it's by sort of like something of a millimetre. It's not adding loads back on. Do you know what I mean? When it refunds these micro-tears, you know, so it tells you the body will shorten and adapt. They're really muscle meridians, the bodies, depending on how much G or prana, whatever you want to call it, running through the body. That will be a good gauge on how much you can lengthen within your postures. So just don't treat it like a sort of bit of breathing with a few stretches, really. You want to really tune into your nervous system and find what works for you. Again, don't try and manufacture postures or asanas. They'll be all different for you. I mean, it could be things like, say, you know, some people won't get their hand right on the floor within a posture. You've got the classic Bhujangasana, Cobra. You know, turn the index finger in so you can get the inner triad of the wrist and the inner two knuckles, and that'll work for some people. And just some elbows in, or, you know, depending on what style, you know, some Shivananda styles will have feet together on the downward dog, i.e. others will have feet slightly parted. But again, you adapt it to you. Don't be frightened of moving around within the postures. You have to stay in a posture and stay there. It might be someone can't get the hand down. They'd be plenty flexible there. See, we always look at the hands and the feet, but it's not always that. It could be further up the kinetic chain somewhere, generally the shoulders. Someone might not be able to get their hand down on the floor, so you look up here. It could be the rotor cuff, it's not turning. So we allow them to turn the rotor cuff. The shoulders are a bit tight, or it might not be that. It might be just they need to turn that. This is flexible enough, so it's not that, what we think the hand, be able to flatten down. So we take the elbow out, and that allows us just to use the rotor cuff just to turn and get that hand flat. So it's finding out what works for you, moving around with the postures, edging round, and attuning to your nervous system and your internal alchemy of the body, and just being aware of that and that progression. And sometimes, you know, and that sounds a little bit negative, you've gone as far as you can go in that posture, you know, so there's no, you know, enjoy the yogic benefits of that and don't try and go beyond, because that's where you should be. You've been doing that one for years and so-and-so's in something else. You know, some like person next to you has gone further than you have in a shorter time. You know, it's not necessarily about that. So something just to be aware of and take into your yoga, and take that thought process in and just attune to that nervous system. Lovely. Bang.